Week here at Down on the Farm Radio headquarters. Most all my livestock market operators have taken a well-deserved holiday here over the July 4th week. I'm going to do so also, and the good folks at Texas Farm Bureau are helping me today with a product that I'm proud to be a part of. It's called Texas Ag Today. Some of you may have heard it, most of you will not have heard it, but I know you're going to enjoy it. Here we go.
I'm Brian Watley with Double Creek Ranch in Kildare, Texas. You're listening to the latest news in Texas agriculture on Texas Ag Today.
Welcome to Texas Ag Today, a daily look at the latest news in Texas agriculture. Texas Ag Today is produced by the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network, with the largest farm news team in the Lone Star State. Now here's the host of Texas Ag Today, Kerry Martin.
Hello, Texas. We are locked, loaded, and ready to roll with another episode of Texas Ag Today. All you've got to do is jump on in with me and buckle up. Let's take a ride around the Lone Star State as we cover the most important industry in this greatest state in the nation, Texas agriculture. In the news today, it is hot outside and that sunshine is beating down hard. Farmers and ranchers need to protect themselves from this high Texas heat and sunshine. We'll have more on that coming up to kick off today's show. My name is Kerry Martin. I'm your host along with the largest and most experienced farm news team in the Lone Star State. And we're all standing by to bring you the latest news in Texas agriculture, from the piney woods of East Texas to the rocky ranges of the Trans-Pecos, and from the Panhandle down to the Rio Grande Valley.
Here's one thing we can already say about this growing season in the Texas High Plains. Thanks to all the rain we received early on, there's been a bumper crop of weeds. I'm James Hunt, and we'll talk about that on Texas Ag Today.
For most farmers on the Texas Rolling Plains, an above-average winter wheat harvest was just completed. The quality was also extremely good. I'm Tom Nicoletti, and I'll have more from a farmer from that region of the state straight ahead on Texas Ag Today.
We'll have those stories plus Texas wildlife news and a complete look at the markets all coming up. The high temperatures are back this week with triple-digit heat in the forecast for much of Texas. But all of that sunlight is dangerous for farmers and ranchers who spend a lot of time in it. Dr. Ashley Sturgeon is a dermatologist in Lubbock, and she's the wife of a cotton farmer.
So my favorite thing is protective gear. I think that it's really cumbersome for folks who are in the sun all the time to have to worry about sunscreen. The very best thing, I think, are these UV protective factor shirts, wide brim hats.
And of course, sunscreen is a must for farmers.
My husband puts on a cream-based sunscreen, SPF 30 or better, broad spectrum, every morning before he leaves the house anywhere that's sun exposed. Using different modalities of sunscreen are really helpful for farmers because they don't want something that's going to get dirt stuck in it and be really greasy and things like this. So sometimes it is worth it to pay a little more for a more elegant sunscreen.
Dr. Sturgeon says the best sunscreen is the one that you'll use, so pick the one you're most comfortable with. Texas corn and sorghum acreage is up this year, while cotton acreage is down.
USDA's planted acreage report released last week shows a 16% increase in Texas corn acreage this year at 2.5 million acres. Harvested acreage is expected to be 2.2 million acres, up 37%. Texas sorghum acreage is also higher this year, with farmers planting 1.9 million acres, up 34% from a year ago. Texas is the largest cotton-producing state in the nation, but cotton acreage is taking a drop this year. Upland cotton acreage is down 22%, with farmers planting 6.1 million acres. Pima cotton acreage is expected to total 17,000 acres, down 48% from last year. I'm Bethany Adcock on the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
The Biden administration is not giving up on its Waters of the U.S. rule, even after the Supreme Court in May struck down the rule's cornerstone significant nexus test. The Environmental Protection Agency and Army Corps of Engineers insist they can still implement the bulk of their WOTUS rule, according to National Cattlemen's Beef Association's Chief Counsel, Mary Thomas Hart.
The EPA and Army Corps of Engineers have now said that they believe they can make some small adjustments to the existing WOTUS definition and basically give us a direct final rule that will comply with this Supreme Court standard without going through notice and comment rulemaking.
A coalition of groups has asked a federal district court in Texas to strike down the Biden WOTUS rule nationwide. The huge rainfall over the Texas High Plains this spring has brought in a bumper crop of weeds. James Hunt has the story from Amarillo.
Kevin Heflin is an agronomy program specialist with Texas A&M AgriLife. He spends a lot of his time helping Texas High Plains farmers with something that has become a huge challenge this season, fighting weeds. Here's one bit of advice from Dr. Heflin. When you're going on the offensive with a herbicide application, plan on using at least 15 gallons per acre.
A lot of times producers will hit the fields with 8 to 10 gallons per acre, as an application volume because it takes less water and you can cover more area faster. And when you're seeing this amount of weed pressure, I think one of the best things that can be done is slow down. Water is essentially free in your tank mix. It's the cheapest part of your tank mix, and apply at least 15 gallons per acre so that you can ensure you're getting good coverage because oftentimes right now they're spraying weeds that are larger than the label recommends. And you can still get good control of it, but you've got to have the volume to make sure you're coating the weeds effectively and getting all the weeds that are out there, not just, some of the big ones.
Dr. Heflin says the most effective control can be achieved when weeds are between 2 to 4 inches tall. Well, unfortunately, a lot of weeds out in the fields right now are much bigger than that, but here's why that standard is a good one to keep in mind.
In my research trials where we do herbicide efficacy trials, I have never seen a resistance issue or a weed that couldn't be killed at the 2 to 4 inch stage.
Once again, that was Dr. Kevin Heflin with the Texas A&M AgriLife Center in Amarillo. I'm James Hunt on the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
The Texas Rolling Plains had a decent wheat crop this year. Tom Nicoletti checks in with one producer who had an above-average crop.
My guest today is Michael White. He is a farmer who raises wheat and other crops in Wilbarger County on the Texas Rolling Plains. And Michael, you just finished your season's wheat harvest. How did it go there for you in your region?
Yes, Tom, we had an above-average wheat crop there this year in our area in Wilbarger County. There were some producers probably that would say if you were on the western edge of the county, it was not quite that average. But probably central part of the county to the eastern part of the county was definitely an average to above average crop. There were some 50, 60 bushel wheat cut there in that area. A lot of 40 to 45 bushel wheat, which was really impressive for the dry year that we came through. March and April kind of turned it around for us.
How was the quality of the wheat that you harvested?
The quality was really good. I heard of protein levels that exceeded where we needed to be on that level. Test weight 60, 61, which is good for us. So I think overall, it's going to be an exceptional wheat harvest for our part of the Rolling Plains.
Now, do you usually rely on custom harvesters from the northern states to come in and harvest, or what's your management style?
Yes, we do. Our area basically is just, we're usually busy either cutting alfalfa hay or planting cotton during this time. It's pretty difficult to do all of the things that you need to do on all the parts as far as harvesting wheat, so we usually hire outside harvesters. We went through a time there that a lot of the harvesters had quit coming, but that seems to have picked that back up this year. We had an exceptional crew come in this year and get the crop out on a real reasonable time.
That is Rolling Plains farmer Michael White. I'm Tom Nicoletti with the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
Central Texas had some great spring weather, but the summer is setting in. Temperatures are hot, and it's getting dry quickly. For an update, we go to Dr. Shane McClellan in Waco. And Shane, it has gone from a pleasant spring to a hot, humid summer in a hurry there in Central Texas.
Yes, sir. Just some drastic changes kind of in the weather. It seems like anything we do weather related the last couple of years, it's one extreme to the other. Lately, it's been the heat and humidity, primarily the humidity. I've talked to some old timers that have said it's the worst humidity they've ever seen in their lifetime. Just day after day of extreme humidity. You go outside and you're just instantly soaked. A lot of our crops are burning down, drying out just from sun. not a lot of cloud cover. Corn has really dried down fast. Wheat has been harvested, grain, sorghum, cotton, and the corn being the major crops that are out in the field right now. We've got a few soybeans around, but all of them are suffering a little bit from the just hot and the humidity.
Well, Shane, is that affecting grazing conditions in pastures as well?
Grazing conditions are better than I would expect them to be. Those rains that we received in the month of April and into May have really helped carry our grass into the hot part of the year. We didn't have a lot of grazing early on, and then we got all those rains. We couldn't get into pastures to cut hay, and then now it's got a lot of grass. Quality's still good. All the cool season annuals are dried down, and our warm season forages are all fairly strong and looking good. They are going to need a rain, as are our crops here in the near future.
Well, Shane, I know hay was in short supply last summer. How are things looking this summer with the spring rains that you got?
Most producers have cut at least once. Few have cut twice. The hay market right now is kind of deceiving because we received all that rain, but we couldn't get into the fields to cut hay because it would just stay wet, or you couldn't cut and let it dry. And then we finally got it cutting, and then the water shut off to say that it just quit raining. But again, we're going to need some more water later on, and hay prices is still elevated. People were expecting it to come down once we started cutting some hay. It's been dry in a large part of Texas. That's driving that hay price. Is just there's not a lot of hay in storage, and people are trying to rebound from an extremely dry year last year and put some hay back. And it's going to take several cuttings over time, and we're going to have more rain to get to where we need to be in the hay field.
How about silage? You seeing a lot of corn chopped for silage this year in McLennan County?
Yes, sir. And with the heat that we've had the last week and days, really dried down the corn crop. We've got a really pretty corn crop this year. Tall plant, a lot of leaf, good fill on the ears. And we could have used a little extra rain about a week ago to help fill out some of those kernels. The guys that are in the silage chopping business, green chop, whatever you want to call it, they've been hustling hard trying to get that crop out as the corn has been drying down. A lot of tonnage, a lot of volume of silage. It's going to be a high quality feed for whoever gets it for sure.
Thanks, Shane. That's Dr. Shane McClellan in Waco.
Feral hog management, communicating the value of hunting, and a private land solution to endangered ocelots in Texas will be discussed at the upcoming Private Land Summit in San Antonio. I'm Jessica Domel, and I'll have more coming up on Texas Ag Today.
And 12 horses have died in a recent 30-day period at Churchill Downs in Kentucky. Veterinarian Dr. Bob Judd has more on that coming up next, right here on Texas Ag Today.
Neighbor, let's take a quick look at the meats, beginning with the National Pork Carcass Cutout value, $108.69 on Wednesday after a 69-cent increase. Bellies were up the most with a $6.70 increase. Federal slaughter, 872,000 head through Wednesday. Wholesale box prices weaker in the morning to tighten the select spread to $30.09. Choice was $5.56 lower at $322.78. The select came down by $1.61. Federal slaughter, 209,000 head for the week through Thursday. As we look toward the fats, looks like the FC online auction sold 193 Texas heifers at $180. Neighbor, there's your meat moves for Wednesday.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Visit Texas Farm Bureau Insurance today at tfbinsurance.com to find an insurance agent who's a true neighbor. Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Neighbor, let's take a long look at the grains, courtesy of John Tuggle, Tuggle & Company, Corpus, 361-852-5207. Milo through Corpus Christi in July, D's plus 85, 1033. Houston, 1060. Progresso, 881. Yellow corn to Corpus in July, September less 20, 465 and a quarter. Houston, 505 and a quarter. Progresso, 535 and a quarter. We'll call hard red winter wheat no bid, and then we'll call beans to Houston, August, September delivery, November less 70, 1285, and Progresso 1285. Neighbor, let's see if we can find you a look at Texas cotton right quick, courtesy of the Texas Department of Agriculture. We moved 768 bale of East Texas, 503 bale of West Texas. Prices went from $73.83 to 75-83. Neighbor, that's it for the Best Darn Farm Show in Texas. No brag, just fact. I'm Larry Marble. You're my neighbor. Neighbor, good day to you.